Hello and welcome to the B Button episode 29. Yeah, baby. I am your host, Baron Marf, and I am joined, as always, by my compadre in arms, the one, the only, Angry Link. How you doing, buddy?
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Yeah? Good gaming week.
It's been hectic. Well, not hectic, but quite fulfilling and
a lot
eventful.
going on.
Yeah.
A lot going on. So what have you been hitting up?
Just Destiny, pretty much. Well, no, I have been playing a bit of Rock Band 4. Like, you've got to keep your toe in the water, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely.
So I've been playing a bit of that, just a little bit every sort of couple of days. But mainly Destiny.
What's the tune you've been trying to wax on Rock Band 4 at the moment? What's the one?
Not really any specific ones.
Really? Okay.
Just.
I usually have one tune that's just holding me back, that's stopping me from...
no, there's 5 or 6 of those, but you got shit like Dream Theater and that's ridiculous. It just, you think, it's finished now. Oh no, it hasn't. Oh god, it's even harder than it was before.
But we did, was it Pony Hoax's track the other day?
That was insane. But I still reckon your thing's out, because I went home that evening and mashed out a couple of tunes and absolutely nailed them.
So you reckon the sync's out?
Yeah.
Damn my lazy reactions. Cool, but Destiny, what's that been like?
Rise of Iron. Obviously, I was very committed to not bothering.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we talked about it a bit last week. And then I decided to go and have a quick crack on Destiny, see how it was playing, and it's that same old gameplay loop. Obviously, we'll talk a bit more about it later.
I was in the party at the point where you did this, and
it's like 20 minutes.
If that's like right, I'm getting it.
And yeah,
done.
you'd spend the next hour trying to find the pre-order on the store.
Yeah, that's the real game.
Yeah, that was the challenge.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've just been absolutely mashing that up.
Cool. Anything else? Or?
Well, the way I've got it written, if I played anything else, it was instantly forgettable.
Perfect.
So yeah, that pretty much sums that up.
Fair play.
Nothing of note is probably the best way to describe that.
So, I've been struggling to get to the console, but when I have, Destiny, of course, a little bit of Recall, not a great deal, and then obviously on Friday it was Forza Horizon 3 early access sploosh. Amazing. I've really only done the demo bit, and we'll talk more about that later as well. But very impressive. And then those sort of moments when you just sort of spag out on the sofa and you really can't be bothered to play like a full-on game, but it's kind of time you pull your phone out or something like that. I've been pulling out my 3DS and waxing Kirby, Planet Robobot. I can never say that name.
It's just one of those, isn't it?
Weird name. Yeah. But yeah, it's been good, man. Really, really good game. I love the Kirby games.
They have always been solid little games, though. I mean, they're somewhat simplistic.
Ridiculously easy, yeah.
But it still doesn't necessarily make it any less fun.
No.
But the same way that Checkers.
Yeah, exactly. It's
a simple game, but a lot of fun to be had.
Competitive shit goes down.
Yes.
Cool. Well, look, we're going to wrap this section up and we're going to shift on over to something a little bit more frisky, which is our Bullet Bills Big 3. We're going to hit the news. We were really chewing on the news this week. There's been a lot going on.
It's been a tough one to narrow down a few, but I think we sort of managed it. It's all stuff that I sort of caught my eye and I thought was interesting.
Oh, so. Yeah, baby. So let's bust on over.
Yes.
Bullet Bills Big 3. It's the news, baby. It's the news. And our first bullet hole of this week is what, Link?
Well, it's a game that isn't the game that I thought it should have been. Let me start again. It's a game that I really, really like, that Nintendo haven't really made one since 2008. So it's been a lot of years.
Yeah.
And that was the Advance Wars series.
Love them.
So this is basically Advance Wars, but it's not. It's called Tiny Metal. It's billed as the spiritual successor to the Advanced Wars series. It's being made by a team in Japan called Area 34. It's comprised of some fairly big names. You have writer Hiro Inaba, who worked on I Am Setsuna, that one that Square Enix have recently just released. Yeah. He also worked on Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright.
Okay.
So he's he obviously worked in some good circles. And then you've got composer Hiroki Kikuta. He worked on Secret of Mana, but he's actually working as the scenario supervisor on this. They currently got a Kickstarter running.
Okay.
They're looking for 50 grand. They've pretty much wrapped up most of it. I think it's just it needs for the final push. Maybe some marketing funds.
Yeah, stretch goals, baby. Yeah.
And yeah, there's a lot of stretch goals. So yeah, they're looking for 50 grand, but the stretch goals go up to about 450k.
Right.
But there's quite a lot of them. But you can also actually get a copy and a build of it to play from their Kickstarter as well. Kickstarter page.
Okay.
So that was good. But again, it's Advanced Wars, but obviously it's for the PC.
Yeah.
But again, it's one of those, it doesn't take a lot to bring a game to other consoles.
I bet one of those stretch goals is...
It's probably one of a PS4 and Xbox, well, probably PS4, or even a Vita.
So is this got your interest? Are you going to follow this thing through? Does it make you want to download it on your PC? Or?
It makes me want to actually go to Kickstarter and say, go on, have some of my money.
Mm.
But yeah, I am tempted to download the build to see if it can run on my crappy little laptop. Hopefully it can. Hopefully the Intel graphics chip or what passes as a graphics chip.
We are so technically minded at this end, aren't we? We're like, that chip computer
it's an integrated GPU.
Oh,
this one is where it's all on the motherboard. It's not a separate unit. It's a piece of crap.
Great.
But yeah, so that's looking good. It looks really fantastic. I mean, it's a 3D version, basically. It's the same rock, paper, scissors, square, grid-based gameplay.
So we've just seen one image, yeah?
No, there was actually a gameplay video on the Kickstarter page.
Cool.
I got the story from Kotaku, so it's on there, but if you look for Tiny Metal...
worth a look, man.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a look, and there's a playable build, so it's a bit of free game in there.
Advanced Wars has always been absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing that even if it just gets funded to do its basic bits, and Nintendo see that, it could stimulate them to do Advanced Wars 3, so...
fingers crossed. Obviously we've got the new consoles and some old franchises that should hopefully get reinvigorated.
Come on.
So yeah, hopefully. It's looking good though. I hope they get past... Well, they've got 18 grand so far of their 50 grand target. I think there's 23 days to go. So it's a lot of days to get in there. You want to get in there and have a little back to all those 7 or 8 people that may be listening.
Yeah, cool.
Hi, Biggie.
Yay. So, cool. Okay, so over to our second bullet hole for this week. We've got a bit of Rocksteady. They just don't know what they're doing. They're like, we don't know what games we're going to do next.
Well, they're obviously talking about thingy, aren't they? The VR.
They just wrapped up. It sounds like they are wrapping up on Batman VR now.
Yes, gone gold, isn't it? That was the main announcement.
And when they were questioned, so what are you doing next? They, in fact, what I particularly liked was the title of the person they asked. So it's Rocksteady's games brand marketing producer.
Right.
Dax Jin. Sounds like a Star Wars name. Quite like that name. And basically he said, to be honest, we don't know what we're going to do. We're in an enviable position where we can just basically sit back and do the kind of game that we want to do. And do you know what? Warner Brothers are fine with that. Now, that is a casual position to be in. I mean, he did also go on to say that, how... I think we've proven ourselves as a team. We know where we want to go with the company. We're good, with our work. We're happy with that. So, leave us alone, basically.
They've obviously just released, or they're going to be releasing the new pack soon, aren't they?
Yeah.
So Warner Brothers have got some money churning in from that, so they don't have to worry about that.
So now they're skipping off in their creative mode.
Yeah, basically. I think it might just be a case of they're just getting ready a Justice League Batman kind of game.
But the thing is if somebody at, say, I don't know, let's take Take-Two's like GTA team or something like that, if they said we're going to just go take our own time and have a do our own thing, you'd be like, yep, absolutely fine with that. Rocksteady said to you, we're just going to sort of kick back and do our own thing, yep, fine with that. If Rare said that to you these days, you'd be a bit more like, well, hold it, guys.
Haven't you been doing that for the last 15 years?
Yeah.
Since Microsoft bought you.
So it says a lot about what they, how people think of Rocksteady and what they deliver.
They've released the first amazing game. They've come back, the Difficult Seconds album, and they've obviously come back and they've got the third, and it's still just as solid. Obviously not if you're a PC owner, but alas.
I mean, they seem they're holding their own. Put it this way, I think they're a sound investment. If they came into you and said, "Hey, by the way, we want to now do." I don't know, Tom and Jerry or something like that. You'd be like, well, seeing what you've done with franchises before, I guess you guys could probably handle it.
I think it is a case of Warner Brothers know what they've got on their hands with Rocksteady, and they're just like, okay, guys, don't worry. Like you say, we've got this one in the pipeline, or the old games we can knock out.
Yeah,
we'll remaster them and get them out. You take your time, make sure it's good.
They set the bar, didn't they? They said, know. Anything which has got an IP doesn't have to be automatically a shit game.
No, well, if you take the source material and you're actually honest with it, and you try and put some value to it and actually honour that material, like they have done with the Batman series, then you can make a brilliant game. If you take a series and just slap it onto a generic kind of game, you get Iron Man.
But do you know what the crazy thing is when I look at it? Like the Batman games, I just think, when I play them, I'm like...
Batman.
This is probably what it's like to be Batman,
You do get a real sense of that life, though, don't you?
Yeah.
It's because there's not really much Bruce Wayne involvement, other than that you're Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
That you're the only one in on the secret.
Wow.
But that's about it. Other than that, it's just, here's Batman. You are the Batman. Go. And that's brilliant. I think they...
Good luck to them.
I would like to see them move away and create their own IP. But then thinking of some of the DC properties that they could potentially pick up.
Don't get me started.
It wouldn't be a bad thing if they did take on another DC property, because there's a few that have had some notoriously bad games. I mean, old Soups has been really let down.
All of them.
Well, all of Soups games have been really shoddy.
Cool, okay, so what's on our third bullet hole for this week?
Well, something we do know about, and what is going on, is some new updates have been announced. Division, they're coming in with big changes. What they got? Well, we've got changing gear sets. These will help balance and add more variety. So obviously your armour sets, all the mods are going to be changing. Some are you can, like the knee pads, you can put mods on and stuff. That's all changing.
Right. Okay.
I mean, there's a heaps of little nicks and stuff they're tinkering with. The weapons damage is changing. Others have had their role changed. Different perks are going to have different abilities. The bonuses are all changing. So you won't have... it's a mountain of stuff to go through that I would advise you to have a look at it all for yourself to digest it a bit better, because unfortunately where I stopped playing the Division, I'm kind of lost with it all as to what it means. What does it all mean, Basil?
Yeah, so in other words, have we just had our 1 year Destiny beta session?
But it was only 6 months, wasn't it?
Or however long it's been since it was released.
It seems that way. But to be fair, I think I paid like 40 quid for 6 weeks beta. I don't even think I was playing it that long. I still didn't take the fucking thing back. But yeah, so there's the survivability, that's changing as well.
Right.
So obviously everything was based around how good your armour was, whereas now it's going to be a bit more how much of a tough bugger you actually are, and your stamina will come into question a bit more. The world tiers are changing. Once you hit level 30 cap, that's all going to be changing. So in the same way that Destiny did with the Taken King, they've changed it all, how it all settles to try and balance it out a bit more.
Oh, God.
But one word for me, meh.
Yeah,
I'm kind of lost with I lost that a long time ago.
I don't think it. I mean, like Destiny in the first year, it didn't really do anything for me.
Didn't promise on what it didn't deliver on its promises, I found.
Yeah, I just find it's like they don't know what the game is that they're trying to release until they release it, and then there's such an input from the fan base, it almost completely changes the dynamics of the game, and you just think,
the
shouldn't you really have a handle on this shit? You know, that's what we're paying you for.
Yeah, I think the problem is where they're trying to cross so many different genres and trying to merge it into something that's not traditionally held those kind of things. It's a tough one to balance and get right. And like you say, when you get an influx of players, and the problem is not having players, it's having new players, and how do they get into it? And
but look at Destiny. They go, well, the only way we can do this is just by giving you something that you press a button and you're level 40.
Yeah, that's it. It's a very sort of a cheap workaround. So I don't know. I'm sure it's a great game. I did enjoy what I did play, but I found it just a bit It was good, but it just wasn't great for me.
So, what else we got coming up?
The better one that I was looking forward to. The game that actually does still keep my interest, and the one that we've always talked about rising from the ashes many, many times.
It's GTA.
It's GTA Online, yes. They are back. Obviously, we talked about it last week. We thought we may see a surprise release, but again, we did talk about it. It's probably just going to be information dropped on it, which that's all it was. But biker gangs and motorcycle clubs. So
here we go.
New element that the community has been asking for a long, long time.
Well, they've been making their own, haven't they? Ages.
Yeah, there's people that set up crews and clans just as a prospect gang.
Yeah.
So it's immense the detail that people have taken this into, but they're going to actually be helped out a bit more now. We've not had a release date, or I couldn't find one at least, but I'd imagine it's probably the Halloween update or the one just after.
Yeah.
Maybe. But bikers will introduce new roles from prospects to presidents.
Sounds familiar.
With a massive slate of competitive and co-op gameplay. Now, cool. I mean, we was talking about this earlier. I was hoping I'd love the stuff they did with the business side of it, but I'm really annoyed that all the good stuff has to be in public lobbies, because you just got so many trolling assholes.
That's what GTA is about.
I know it is. Well, that's what it's become about.
But GTA is all about taking stuff from other people.
Oh yeah,
that's the crux of it.
Yeah. I do accept that, but when you've got 2.4 million, I mean, I can understand if it was really quick to get the money together to fill a warehouse, but it doesn't. It's quite it's a considered amount of time.
Man,
and effort.
Grinded the shit out of that game just
all in public lobbies.
Yeah.
If you get a full lobby though, and you just get say 8 people, it's fucking chaos. And you're like, I can't do that shit now. I can't do it now.
That's how it goes down.
Because you can never get enough crew together.
So what's this co-op actually about? Do we have any idea?
It doesn't actually say, no. So I'm just hoping it's a bit more involved than the business side of it. So there is more co-op as opposed to just the CEO missions. But there's going to be a new range of motorbikes and some new properties. So clubhouses. Obviously, we've called it. We've got to get out to the desert. That just seems appropriate. But there'll be a new biker mechanic and venues for seedy businesses.
Fair enough.
Seedy business ventures.
So I've seen some of the images of the bikes lined up, and they've done some interesting colour schemes and stuff.
It'll be all like the fenders and stuff and the forks. I'd imagine you can change. It'll probably be in traditional GTA fashion, and there won't be enough options for any of it.
No, and it'll all be overpriced.
Yeah. So again, it's GTA's classic. Yes, we're going to give you even more reasons that you're just going to be lazy. Just go and be lazy. Go and buy the money. You know, it'll be cheaper and more cost effective for your time to go and actually work for the money.
Not that you will, but you'll think that way.
I know.
Buy the money.
Well, it's how much more I think that way.
Buy the money.
Yeah, basically, it's just constantly that.
Cool. Okay, so
Meh for Division.
Yeah.
And looking forward to the bike gangs to see how overpriced it is.
Yeah, hideously. Okay, so we haven't decided whether it was beef or whether it was a piece.
Bit of a smorgasbord.
So many options.
So we've got a bit of a piece of beef.
Yes. So let's go on over to our what's the piece of beef, Chief?
Yeah, that works.
Right. What is the beef, Chief?
What is the piece of beef?
Chief. So we've got a bit of beef, we've got a bit of beef. start off with some peace. What we got, Luke?
Destiny. Obviously, we were talking about earlier in the intro.
Yeah.
The Rise of Iron expansion.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've been playing the shit out of it this week. Every chance I've got, I was really disappointed Tuesday. I thought I was only working half day. I was like, yeah, get back, cup of tea, something to eat, Destiny, all afternoon, all evening, great. Oh no, I'm working all day. Suck balls.
Brutal.
Eat a bag of dicks, work.
Oh well. But mean,
yeah, so
you're feeling the love, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I mean, I've come to accept that this is an unbelievable game to play. It just how much fun. I mean, alluding back to last Saturday, just 20 minutes, and I've walked in and got on down onto the planet.
Yeah.
First few guys just jump over a rock, shoot one guy, shoot another guy in the face, throw a grenade at the one guy, it sticks to him, look around, there's another guy, throw a knife, done. And you just drop 4 people within like 15 seconds and you're like, yeah, I'm a fucking badass.
Yeah, exactly that. And I've had that as well. I had some recordings where I was just like, literally, I was just using the double jumps to jump from head kill to head kill.
Yeah.
And it was just like, point blank melees, like stab.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's like an evil, twisted Mario.
Yeah. It was awesome.
I mean, the light update from April with the infusions really helped.
That needed to happen so badly.
That was a really good.
So for those of us who don't know what that is,
well, there's always been the thing you can always chip up your gear, any guns you get, because if you're playing through and still trying to hit max level, you'll always get better gear. But there was always stuff that you wanted to keep hold of that was good, so you could always infuse it with stuff that's better and make the current stuff that you want to keep
raise
better.
The light level. Yeah,
to raise your light level, that's right. It used to, before April, it would give you a portion,
about 80%, wasn't it?
Depending on what kind of and how far away it was, and it was a real complete ball ache. Well, to the point that nobody had a clear set of maths to how to work how much you'd get.
Yeah,
and that says it all.
But the crux of it was, if you had a level 100 level that you wanted to infuse to up it, and you had a level 200 weapon, if you put the level 200 into the 100 weapon, you'd only get about 180 or 170. Yeah,
something like
you'd
that.
never get the full kit and caboodle.
No. But the April update changed that, and it just completely, you put a 200 into a 100, you'll get 200. Bam, there it's done. So that's sorted that out.
Because the thing is with that, is you were sort of collecting what I called like bridging weapons. So you wanted to get to that level 200, so you get another weapon which is like 180 or something like that, and chip that up there, so you get closer to the.
Yeah, it was a really horrible, sneaky way. You could never really get max level unless you got really, really fucking lucky.
Yeah.
Or you grinded the shit out of it for weeks.
So you're 1 point away. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, so then again, the new gear as well. There's all some new stuff, some new exotics. Galahorn's back.
Galahorn
I can finally
back.
get it, and I don't have to. It's not this RNG bollocks. I actually get given one.
Yeah.
Well, I pre-ordered one anyway, but so I've got 2. One's black, one's white. Well, one's the original look, and you got the black, the Iron Galahorn.
The Iron Galahorn.
And I'm like,
Galahwing.
Iron's not black though. But anyway, I digress. So we've got the new gear, and there's some new items to help you find all the old strike loot, because there's some really cool pieces in there still for class items and guns and stuff. So you can go in and to that strike at the end, you can put in a specific or special key, get that specific loot gear. So you've people collectors, they can get that stuff now. That's good.
Cool.
And the engrams. It's something I completely forgot about when I was writing my notes down.
Yeah, that threw me massively.
Well, obviously you were saying to it, because you look on, when you've got an engram, which is, if you don't play Destiny, it's this undercoded thing that you need to take to a special person, and then it will give you a piece of armour
blueprint or something.
It will give you something hopefully good, depending on the colour of it.
Yeah.
And blues are what, your mid-range? So
yep.
You've got white, green, blue, purple, and then exotics, which is the top, and now orange. And blue engrams will never be lower, but it could potentially be one higher, so you might get a legendary, a purple one from it. But it doesn't say anything about exotics. And lo and behold, I had 3 exotics drop from blue engrams.
Well, we were on the phone the other day talking about it, and I was like, yeah, you'd never get it because it says clearly on there, blah, 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 it doesn't happen. And then you're like, got 2. And I was like, what? I can believe that.
Yeah, and then I got another one later that day. I even recorded. I did a recording because my mate was like, bollocks, unless pictures or it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck you. Next time it happened, I'm recording that shit, and I did.
Yeah.
Hopefully I don't. I'm just going to watch the video yet, but I was just like, yeah, give me that armour that I've just bought from Zer. Thanks.
Thank you.
But it's still doing the same old things with the exotics. I've got another last word, so I've had one from every year now.
That's good.
Well, not just one from every year, but I've had each year's cast.
So one thing which threw me is I've been for ages and ages waiting for obviously bad juju to become a year 2 weapon and such on. Bought it from Zer, amazing, great. And then probably within 4 hours had one drop. It's like, come on.
I had that happen because you was like, I'll get back on Destiny. Have you got any strange coins? I was like, no, I've not got any strange coins. It's not even worth me going on there just to try and buy it. And then I did the old 3 of coins and got it. No, I chipped in all of my exotics, which I shouldn't have done. But yeah, got one from there. And like you said, it's an amazing gun. Once you get that leveled up, it's a beast.
Yeah.
That and the Zalo, they're like amazing.
Zalo all the way.
Yeah, that's especially this week. It's got to get that arc damage in.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a few caveats because obviously I know you've got a bit of a beef with some of it, haven't you?
Yeah. So for me, you're gonna need a fuck ton of exotic shards.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But that's where it's handing out strange coins like they're candy. Like they're nobody's. It's almost like it's glimmer.
Yeah.
I mean, I made within a few days with just one character. Like, yeah, this week I've probably had about 70, 75 strange coins. So obviously I bought Monte Carlo, bought the boots that I haven't got, and then just bought the rest of it with gear. And then whatever I'd left, I bought strange coins, 3 of coins with. But then I just sharded the gear in.
And you must have had like some missions which were dropping the bounties, which were dropping.
Yeah, like I say, I've not really obviously been working this week, so it's only a sort of few hours in the evening, and I managed to make like nearly 70 this week.
Yeah, so there's lots coming out, but it's still the exotic shards, which is that quandary of do I get rid of this weapon? Do I get rid of this bit of armour?
Yeah, I mean it's easy if you've got doubles because you can just check out, see which one's got the better stats and the better setup of perks, and you just get rid of the other one.
Yeah, I started looking at the handgun collection and thinking, not so sure.
How many of them do I actually use?
Yeah, and then obviously there's other things like character variety. It's like,
oh yeah, no, there's very much a case of it's been recycled.
Yeah, I mean they've just reskinned some stuff here, haven't they? Yeah. I mean, like even like the attacks. So the Fallen now are using similar to what the large mechanized, the Cabal. Like they do, or at least the Taken Cabals, where they fire out the ball which sort of tracks you. And now instead of shooting and explode, shoot it once and it'll change direction, but it doesn't track around things, it crashes into stuff. It's just like, come on guys, was that the best you could come up with? A variant on stuff like that, come on, come on.
To try and defend it a bit, I suppose. Don't forget, a lot of people it's not going to be a big crew like the Taken King development team. That would have been a good sizable portion of people, whereas this, it does almost seem like it's 4 people and maybe one of the developers' cats.
Yeah, and you know what? I fair play if it is only 4 people, but straight away I'd say you've got enough money, so don't have 4 people on it. Do a proper one. I mean,
even if you're contracting a company to help out.
Yep, get it done. Yeah. I mean, look at the storyline. How many levels is the story? I was playing and I was like, right, here we go. I'm just sort of getting into the swing of it, and it ended, and I was like, what? Wait, this hasn't started yet. Where was the challenge? And then I can remember before playing the last level, he said, time to settle this shit, or something to that effect, and I was like, no, it's not. It can't be, surely. Can it?
You're told that this force is, or the Siva stuff is this. It's a danger to the whole entire galaxy or the system. Blah blah blah, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, we've done it. It's like, yeah, congratulations. Oh,
what?
Are we talking about the same Siva that you were really shitting your pants about?
Yeah, I mean,
we've just done in like 2 hours.
They base this on like giving you a melee weapon to sort of settle it with, right? Spoilers alert. And sorry, but so you have that little fight, and you're like, okay, that was quite interesting, a bit different. Where does it go from here? And the answer is, it doesn't. No. It doesn't go from there. It's like
no.
So yeah, not impressed by that.
I mean, I did have a really, really cunning idea, I think, where Destiny in itself has gone wrong. Like, we've said that obviously all the areas have been built, like, for the whole first 2 years. Rise of Iron is probably the only new stuff that Bungie have had to think about.
Yeah, pretty much.
Other than Destiny 2.
Yeah.
And they were originally planning to get that out this year, so they wouldn't have had to worry about this before. But they've made a mistake in the sense that they've always had to bring out new stuff. Well, why don't you make everything at the very, very beginning? So all the areas, all the strike areas, all the raid areas, but every couple of months there's a new force comes into the world and a new challenger to try and take down the Traveller. So it's very easy for them to recycle stuff. That raid's only up for a couple of months.
Yeah.
So you've got to get in there fast and get everything done. Yeah, it might come back, and eventually, say, year 2, we'll bring all of the old stuff back and it will stay there. Or it'll loop on a weekly basis or something like that.
But it makes more sense, doesn't it? It makes you want to play it more often. It gives you the variety.
Well, you can play it for a few weeks, hammer it out, you can put it down, but next month, or in a few weeks, you're going to have to come back because they're about.
But talking of raids, there's my other sort of gripe about it is you're back to raid politics, which I know is like quite a geeky thing to talk about, but generally it is raid politics. There are people out there who are just like, sorry dude, can't talk now, got to go blow somebody's face off in a raid. It's like, well, we were playing a game, so it's just...
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier, weren't we?
Yeah, general raid politics is a bit of a...
what was it? The only reason why I've done Crotas is because people were bored.
Yeah.
And they found out that I hadn't ever done Crota. They're like, we've got to go and run. And I'm like, I'm completely underpowered. They're like, don't worry, you just go hide in that corner. And I got Sherpa'd through loads of stuff, catching up onto year 2. But it didn't really ever happen with raids on King's Fall.
No.
I mean, my biggest problem was random Facebook wankers. It's not to say that they're wankers because they're random Facebook people, but it's just the same old kind of people that like are no help and more of a hindrance. And
you get
difficult to
the random 8-year-old.
Yeah, and the people. It's just like go onto a dedicated place and actually find some serious players, so that when they say these things, they actually mean them, and they're not just talking crap.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's what I mean. There's a few caveats, but I'm gonna try and stray away because I might descend back into hating Destiny. I'm gonna let you get into something I'm looking forward to.
But Forza 3. So, as I said, been playing it. It's good. It's good. I mean, very quickly before we sort of start recording, we did just sort of jump on very, very briefly, just sort of show you my current pet project on a car. It's a sort of 1968 Ford. This game is a pretty game. Really, really pretty game. I mean, even without 4K, without HDR, it's pretty.
I've already seen, obviously because it's out on the PC as well, I saw an article this morning on Eurogamer. Some guy's already had it running on his 4K rig. He said it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Looks phenomenal.
And I mean, I've probably put 2 or 3 hours into it, which is obviously just not even scratching the surface. And I've probably just contained myself still just sort of pretty much the demo. I've just unlocked the other city, and that's where it sort of really begins. But what I did was I took a bit of time in the area that I was in just to sort of play off a few more of the sort of races and stuff, build up a bit more cash. And that's what I started doing at that car. And I've just become immediately fallen in love with it. I mean, I've never really played Forza before.
No.
So it's something which I've always sat back and thought it looks a bit simulator-esque, but it's not. It's very Ridge Racer-y, and I quite like Ridge Racer.
I've always found that Horizon it takes that in the same way that a simulator like Gran Turismo is very sterile and it's very precise, and you've got a very narrow margin of error. And then you go on to the other extreme, like your Ridge Racers, where you can literally throw the car around corners and somehow you're looking behind you, you're facing the wrong way and still managing to go round the corner.
Yeah, I used to love that, the reverse corners. Yeah.
Yeah, it does kind of marry in between the two, that it's still got that hard race edge to it, that you have got to be fairly precise, but it is very forgiving. Whereas on a Forza 6, you would no way be able
you're
to
wrong,
do...
you're off, yeah.
Yeah, you'd no way to be able to do that move or pull that kind of corner. But in this, it's like, yeah, go on then. Yeah. It looks cool.
Yeah,
go on then.
Yeah. And it's they get that balance really spot on.
Playground games have done really, really well with the last three. The last two, they were phenomenal games to play.
And the bit which I find really exciting, and they speak about it on some of the trailers, is that 2-player co-op for the storyline. Oh, sorry, no, it's cooperative. It's not 2-player, it's cooperative, and they're talking about people. Was it 4? Is it?
I think it's 4 player, up to 4 players.
Yeah, now that's amazing, and they're saying that don't sweat about getting first. If you're like putting fat drifts, or you'll
still score.
You still score just as well, or even higher. So,
do you remember?
Which is good, because I not panic is the wrong word, but I find myself just competitively racing all the way through, and I know it's a racing game, and that's kind of the crux of it. But you want to be able to wax an AI. You don't want to have to be sort of like hammering your mate or losing badly to your mate,
or having to convince them. Oh God, let us win this one for fuck's sake! I'm taking a first all night.
I'm not leveling up. Yeah, all that sort of crap.
Yeah, the Destiny thing again.
Yeah.
No, that's always a good thing though. That's what I loved about the Project Gotham games, was the fact that you can get your kudos. There were certain games, certain ones you had to race, but it was predominantly about just going out and looking good on the track, and that's what I love. That's what I love about the Horizon series. The freedom it offers as well.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, I need to go there over in the distance. Right. As the crow flies? Yeah, why not? And you could just career through a whole forest if you need to, as long as you don't hit all the trees.
Yeah. I mean, what impresses me about it is you can just play it as a racing game. So you can, as in a bog standard arcade racing game, select your car. I always get a bit sort of apprehensive about when they start going, you can tune your car, because it's that mix between GTA, where I think, I would want to do a bit more than that, to I'm not interested in chassis types of forks and suspension.
Camber? What the fuck are you on about?
Yeah, exactly.
Toe in?
But they do it in a very clever way, because what they do is they just put you into the section, and as you move along, it tends to be the best stuff is the most expensive, and at the end, and you've got sort of your numbers, your stats of the car, and it just goes green if it goes up, or red if it goes down. Very simple. So for me, if you want to do it at just that level, you can do, but as you were saying earlier on, when you sort of tried the Ford that I've sort of put together, you were like, I changed the throttle...
Change the gear ratio out.
Yeah, a bit. Now, that means you can tune it even further, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, it's the same tuning experience as you'd get on Forza. So it is as in-depth as you want it, but a bit more arcadey and a bit more social.
Yeah, because you can do it's not just choose your rims, it's choose your tyre type, it's...
Yeah, the width of the tyres, the size of the tyres, the size of the wheels. You can go completely stupid and stick a set of 20s on it when it really shouldn't have 20s. All kinds of stuff. It's a brilliant game. I implore anyone who has any remote interest in cars or driving around in a game, and driving games in general, if you like the Crew, get Forza Horizon. It's not got the grand scale of the Crew, but it's a better racing game, it's a better driving game, and it's got a better story.
Yeah.
Because I like the idea it's a festival and people are out here to have fun. Not, I'm some vigilante, gonna get back revenge for killing my brother who now runs the Crew, so I'm gonna take it all.
Just drive.
Yeah, that's it.
And, talking about the festivals, some of the radio stations aren't too bad either.
Oh mate, the radio's really good, the music's all good, and the fact that if you've got an Xbox Groove account, you can link that up as well.
Sweet.
So you can have the access to millions of tunes if you want.
If you're foolish enough to do your
Microsoft
music,
music,
purchasing through Microsoft Groove.
But no, it's been really good. So I just got a couple of questions though.
Shoot.
How's it run? Had any drops of frame rate at all?
No.
Even when it gets busy through some of the jungles?
I haven't noticed anything, but I've not given it a sort of the full stress test yet. But I've been piling through jungles, like smashing stuff up, and nothing.
I suppose the real test would be when you've got, let's say, a few co-op partners.
Online's when it's really going to stretch it.
So obviously it's not really a question; it's more of a statement, I guess. But you're enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it a lot more than I expected to, and it's making me want to put it on and drive it, which is where I find myself with things like Need for Speed, where I'm not into sort of racing games, but because they've got that sort of like, actually, just one more race, and
I think with games like that, it gets to a certain point with when you've got to go up to the certain cars where they just get ridiculous, and it's just a real chore to play because you're always fighting the car, and those kind of games, they annoy me. It's like I did that with Grid. Grid was a really good game, but it doesn't. It's not very
scalable.
Free. Yeah, it's very restricted. But any negatives? Is there anything that's sort of bugging you about it, or have you not really had a chance to?
Do you know? The only negative I've come across so far is I can't
drive
on that game like I'm used to driving in all the other driving games. Because it's that line between closer to a simulator, but it isn't. It's not like you said, Ridge Racer, where you go for a right-hand corner, you turn it left and go the opposite way around, and
you're doing spins and donuts.
Do like a 540 and or some crazy shit, you know.
I think you're probably talking 25% arcade, 75% sim.
It's
probably a good fare.
Yeah, so because of that, I'm having to rein my neck in a lot on it, and I'm
and
struggling.
Actually use the brake when it tells you to use the brake.
The main one for me is actually not braking at all. It's just not accelerating.
Yeah,
it's amazing what you can do with that, and also having some faith in some of the corners, because when you obviously put your GPS on, it gives you the racing line with the sort of the, as it did in Forza 2 and maybe it did in Forza 1, I don't know, but you get
brake line.
The brake line goes red if you're going in too hot. Having faith in that when you come up to a corner and it's just blue all the way through and you're like, really?
But it's the line itself. It does give you the good line. But you got to be careful on some corners though, because it will take you across the opposite way. And the amount of blind crashes I've had, but thank God for the rewind button.
Yeah, that's the other thing is the rewind button. That's it. I don't necessarily feel like I'm cheating. I do feel like it's not to my true lap, but equally it does take away the frustrations I have of playing a lap over and over and over and over again because you keep fucking up that one corner.
When you get to that last corner and it stitches up where on the blind corner and a car just comes round and you can't take the corner wide because it will fucking spank you into the thing. You've got to go across the apex, and every time there's a transit. Every time.
But do you know what? This is one which gets me, is you crash into the transit and you hit the Y button and you rewind back.
And you still crash into the transit.
So you go, right, I crashed into the transit because I was following that line. So you change the line, and this time the transit goes, I'm not going to pull out. And you just crash into it anyway, and you're like, you son of a bitch. And when I hit the old rewind theatre, it's like 7 or 8 times. It's never like once or twice. It's always like, not quite right, not quite right.
That's the sketchy part. I'd rather be behind it or in front of it, not in between.
But then I look at some corners and think, I'll never get through that. So I do, like I say, rewind it 7 or 8 times. And then suddenly, I get the one where I get it right. And I fly through that corner. I think, it can be done. So now I have to do it. Not rewind, but I have to get the corner right. So... yeah, it's a really interesting little feature, and it's not something I've sort of experienced a lot in games other than, I guess, what was the last one which did it? It was Need for Speed, wasn't it? I'm trying to think. But either which way, I can remember a more arcadey game doing it once.
I think the Crew have got it.
Maybe it's the Crew, yeah.
I think they've got a rewind. I don't know, I can't remember. But again, it's one of those, great game, great idea. Also, a great idea for a game. Great that they've achieved the scale, but somewhat a bit mediocre.
But yeah, all in all, really impressive stuff.
Yeah, good.
I personally say get it. I mean, have you pre-ordered your?
No, I'm getting it end of next week.
Cool.
So basically, end of the month. Waiting for paycheck.
Yeah, well, that's a co-op session.
Definitely, mate. That was day one purchase, or as close to day one as I could get. But I've got a bit of a beef though.
What's that?
Like, you've got the stupid £80 one or whatever. Obviously, the most of that is so you can type the early access bollocks. But even the £60 one, they've still got the DLC, which you'll get a bit cheaper because you bought the VIP. But no, you still got to buy the DLC. And that's
that is a low blow. But all in all, the game's a masterclass.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I'm glad to hear it, and I'm looking forward to getting on that next week.
We've got a little meatball for the end, haven't we?
Well, it was a little meatball of beef. I mean, one thing we missed out this week, our obligatory NX rumour.
Well, yeah, I guess
there's been a few little stories in the news this week about it, and it's kind of summed it up for me, and I'm just a bit pissed off now.
Can I just preempt this with the bit which has kind of spurred this, I think, definitely from my end anyway, is Ubisoft's
Prez, CEO, top guy,
whatever,
El Capitan,
jumping around the stage going, it's marvellous, I love it, I love the NX, like, it's incredible, and and that's not news, that's not what we want to hear.
That's rubbing one's nose in it. I
don't want to hear somebody who, let's be honest, isn't known for making great games, in my opinion, jumping around the stage going, I'm all over this. No, stop it.
No, it's like you say, that the beef really is why. It's sort of a great headline that's describing this. It's I can't remember it exactly, but I've got written, why do I get the feeling everybody else has seen the NX but me?
Yeah.
Because it seems that everybody and their dog has got a report, or they've seen it, or their friend Greg's got a cousin who works at fucking some place that's friends, managers, partners, neighbour, has got pictures. Oh, piss off.
Yeah, and we hear sort of things about, potential manufacturing going on.
Yeah, well, there's the trial production rumours, because everyone's favourite manufacturer of electronics, Foxconn, obviously other than the workers, that is, but... Yeah, they've had apparently trial productions going in there, looking for a 10 million unit production run to start with, but who knows? Mm-hmm. So it won't be long until we see pictures from there.
Yeah.
So why don't they just hurry up and just announce it? I mean,
just announce it. Just announce it. Come on now. Get on with it.
We mentioned earlier, didn't we, before we recorded, that I can't remember. I think it's just past the birthday, Nintendo's birthday. That would have been the perfect time. It's after TGS. It's after the PlayStation Pro hoo-ha. That's come somewhat fizzled and tapered off. And now Xbox have come in and had a chime at them.
Very quickly.
It'd be the perfect time to kick the boot in. He's like, you want to get away from all that dick pissing and cock measuring stuff.
Yeah.
I want to see something really cool.
Yeah.
Check out this.
Yeah, exactly. They need to do their smart marketing bit now and just be like...
kick down the door, just quietly tap on the window and just, have you seen this?
Yeah. Watch everyone go, wow, that's what Nintendo do, they innovate. Yeah.
Exactly. Basically, the meatball is...
Where the fuck is it?
Yeah, just hurry the fuck up and show me it. Tell me how much and when. That's it. That's the only pertinent information.
But they've done what they wanted to do, because you are now chomping at the bit, as I am.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's canny marketing, and they've not really had to spend a fucking penny, because all of the marketing's been driven by the websites themselves.
We've had some pieces of beef. We've had some beefy pieces this week. I think it's time for us to meander over to uncharted territory.
Yes indeed.
Let's mosey on over. Uncharted territory, a place where we meander around the gaming world. We explore. We're explorers, Link. That's what we are.
I best pay attention then.
Link's exploring his pad right now. So this week we both saw an article independently, didn't we? That we thought, actually, that's really interesting.
Well, there's been loads of cool retro stuff this week, though. I mean, I can't remember if you mentioned it last week. We had the little SNES Clay Raspberry Pi mod.
Yeah.
I saw one this week. Someone's done it with a NES cartridge. That was really cool.
Yeah.
But like you say, the one that that did really catch my eye was on Eurogamer by a gentleman called Keith Stewart.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a bloke that when he was in his younger days, back in the heady days of 1992.
Yeah.
He was working on finding codes or creating cheat codes for the Game Genie.
Yeah. So old school Game Genie.
Yeah.
For those of us who don't know what a Game Genie is, first things first, well done.
You're very lucky to be very, very young.
As Keith Stewart says in his piece, you are very, very young. Well done. But for those of us who don't know what it is it, Link?
Well, it was something that anyone, again, cartridges maybe. What the hell are cartridges to some of our viewers or listeners or some people
3DS.
Well, yeah. But yeah, they were really big back in the day, and a lot of the time, unless you had an actual input codes, you couldn't have cheat codes.
If it wasn't sort of built into the software of the actual game,
it didn't exist.
It didn't exist.
No, but these enterprising gentlemen from Codemasters created a cartridge that would sit in between the console and the actual game cartridge, thus being able to access the core of the code, as it were.
Yeah, so I mean, the whole idea initially was, specifically we're talking about Richard and David Darling.
So Dick Darling.
Dick Darling, that's right, Darling, who sort of like headed up Codemasters. And David and a software engineer called Ted Cannon sat down and sort of started brainstorming. They had this idea that what they were going to do is put a switch on the cartridge, which would give you like bonus weapons or bonus this or bonus that. And then they thought, well, if we took that a little bit further, if we capture the data as it comes off the cartridge and mod the data so when it goes into the games console it tells it something else, we could do this on any game. And thus the idea was born.
Yeah.
And, I love that idea. And it's, some plucky British folk from Codemasters, just down the road in Southam.
Well, I think the wonderful thing about that was the whole reason they knew that they could do it was because they were forced because of the licensing restrictions with the cartridges from Nintendo for the NES.
So they couldn't get a developer's license for Dizzy and later on Micro Machines as well. So they just made their own cartridges. They said, right, bollocks to you guys, we'll do it then. And as you said, so what Nintendo did have just basically said, you're not doing that, we're going to sue you. Or specifically, actually, what they sued a company called Gallop, which is like this monster company.
Well, at the time they used to make peripherals and
toys and all sorts of things. And,
they were an electronic toy company, weren't they?
And they were basically the owners of Codemaster, or the parent company to Codemaster at the time. And as a result of it, when they tried suing them, they got absolutely thrown out, and it gave sort of set precedents for them to be able to go, right, let's look at other platforms then.
Yeah.
And they did it, which I love the idea of, Nintendo first just being really indignant and going, we're not going to give you a developer's license for, let's be honest, Micro Machines, that was a great game.
Yeah, Magnus and Dizzy, they were amazing games.
So, so they lost out an opportunity there, and these guys, this little company's just like pushed its way through and said, no, we are going to do it, and they've got buy-in from the right people, and this whole thing of just being in 1992, just being sat there, when some of the things in the article they said things like it was like Batman Returns was just released and stuff like that.
All these major. I mean, it was a great year for films that year as well. Some great sequels. I think Terminator 2 came out that summer as well, didn't it?
Amazing. But yeah, and these guys were just sort of plugging away at these codes to just try and come up. The methodology for finding codes within these games was amazing. We were killing ourselves with laughter over
it. They were awesome. Great stories.
It's just basically just like code. They'd look at the screen and the code would just pour down the screen, and then they just pause it at the right point to try and identify something which represented like a lives or something. Yeah, you'd
look at variables and things like that, and things that would change. So they would look at each instance of where say you started with 3 lives, they'd look for where 3 turns up.
Change it to say 9 or something like that, or 0 value or whatever. And then once they'd sort of done that bit of code, then they'd pass it to another guy who'd then test it to see if it did spit out what they wanted to and whether it corrupted the game elsewhere. And only at that point did they then put it into sort of QA at Codemasters, and they kind of said, yep, that's fine, okay, that can be one of the codes that we're going to release. So they had to sit there and plow through this code, and in a couple of instances, they said some games that it was like really easy, and obviously ones that they'd done themselves, like Micro Machines and stuff like that, it's like no problem whatsoever. But some of the ones, like they gave an example of like the Addams Family, and basically they just couldn't find anything which had any value of significance to the game other than one particular option, which if they changed from one option to the other, so 0 to 1 or whatever it was, it would basically make the character just continuously jump all around the screen, making it completely useless and uncontrollable. So their way of dealing with that was to sort of name it Unlock Pogo Stick Mode, posted it to Codemasters Q&A, and they were like, "Yep, that's fine," and it went. And that's their job.
Because they had to fill a quota a day, didn't they? They had to get 4 codes per game.
Yeah.
Or the games they had to get through that day. So yeah, brilliant, isn't it? It's just the ingenuity. It's just like, this one's completely fucked. This is going to take us weeks to find and.
Completely janky control mode.
Yeah, that works. And Codemasters, good on them. Fair play to them.
They did say they did start to get a little bit more dubious later on. They had one around Mickey Mouse, which was basically every time you jumped over a dog, it turned the dog and everything else into fire hydrants. Thus, the sort of strapline of sometimes dogs turn into fire hydrants became like a whispering message of
failure.
Yeah, he's just trying to get himself out of a fail situation. So yeah, I mean, all in all, it's just a really interesting article, and as I said, Game Informer, go have a look at it. Eurogamer.
It was Eurogamer.
Eurogamer, go have a look at it. Really, really good. Anybody who knows what the Game Genie is, it's worth.
It's a really interesting read for people who know what the Game Genie is, and it's quite interesting to find out, like for people that have only ever known game FAQs, and even then, that's still now you're talking is yeah.
But I mean, it's things like it's just like the way the game industry works back then was still so cowboyish in comparison to how it is. It's very much sort of fixed budget. You know, you have a cycle that you have to release in a particular window. Yeah. It's how big's your software team and yada yada yada.
Just look at the budgets. I mean, you go back to those days, you're probably talking tens of thousands.
Yeah, and you know, and
if you're spending anywhere near 100,000, it's a big game. And again, most of that's probably marketing.
Yeah.
So it's the beast that it's grown into now. I mean, I was just reminiscing about, like you said, because I had one of the Game Boy Game Genies, and just going through it and searching, looking through the manual for all the codes, and then you go into magazines where they print extra codes.
Yeah.
And, it was brilliant fun. It really was.
It's a different little economic ecosystem of magazines and codes and stuff like that back
this
then,
is the
which
thing,
has all
isn't
just
it?
died with the internet.
Yeah, I did love. Me and Biggie were talking about this on the internet whilst we were playing a bit of the Destiny, and I used to love it, like the Nintendo mags, because you'd find people and the writers that you'd like, and the kind of features that they did, because the news and stuff. You kind of just look at it when you go on into the news agents. You'd pour through every magazine and check out all the news that way. And then you'd buy the magazine with the features you liked, or the demo discs, if you're a PlayStation fan. If you're lucky enough to have a PlayStation. But no, it's good times. Good times.
Good times.
Yeah. And the old Amiga. Oh, I like that game. Can I borrow it for a half hour?
Yeah.
But again, what are you going to do when you're an 8 years old kid? I can afford a pack of floppy disks. I can't afford 30 quid game though.
Oh dear. Okay, so there we are, folks. It's been another fun-filled week of gaming for us, and lots going on next week. What are you going to hit up next week, Link?
Raid gear. Getting raid ready.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be pushing on Forza. It's going to be Destiny. Those are the ways forward. Cool, okay, so there it is, folks, from Angry Link Kids.
Adios.
And from me, it's goodbye.